Hi, welcome to another day of Why This Now, putting to my fun sign. Today I'm going to talk about the habits in our life. Are the habits I'm living helping me to live my best life now? I just celebrated a birthday, and so it always causes me time to reflect on how I'm taking care of myself and some of the habits that I have in my life and how am I doing with them, what do I need to change. And it's always a good time around birthdays. I don't do New Year's resolutions, but around birthdays is usually when I reflect. So emotionally, what are my emotional habits, my spiritual habits, my physical habits, my social habits? What do I do intentionally every day to practice the habits that I value, that bring value to my life, and that I know I should be doing? And what are the things that I do that take those habits right out the window? So the basic premise behind all of our habits is, besides for our best life now, is it feeds our spirit. How does our inner being react to our habits? And what do we want to have as a result of the habits that we have in our life? So the first one I wanted to address is my physical. So my physical habits, things we all know. We need to get enough sleep. We need to hydrate. We need to exercise. So you have to figure out what it is. What's the best time for you to be in bed? How much sleep do you really need to function? Honestly, how much sleep do you need? And how can you get that sleep? Do I stay up extra late watching that Netflix show? Or I love to read 3 more chapters. Oh wait, I want to read 3 more chapters. Oh wait, then I've lost that sleep. You can't get sleep back. We don't catch up on sleep. It's gone. It's not something you can go back and catch up on. That's a lie. So the Netflix show and the book that you're reading, those will both be there the next day. So get your sleep. I talk to myself about this too, because that is one of my hardest things. Occasionally we go out with friends, yes. So then hydrating, especially living in the desert, but just generally, we need to make sure that we are getting enough healthy fluids in our bodies every day. Do I intentionally plan to have fluids at the ready? Do I take them with me before I leave the house? Do I remember to make time to take them with me before I leave the house? And then exercise. Be honest, and that's one of my things. I'll get to it. I didn't get to it this morning. I'll get to it later. Later doesn't happen for me. So be honest about what is the best time of day to exercise, and do it. Intentionally plan that time, because you're worth it. You are worth having that time to dedicate to your body to help feed your spirit, to give you that physical, grounded ability to move through your day. Endorphins from exercising are the best joy giver, and they're free. We love exercise for the endorphins. All right, so then emotionally. Emotional health drives all of our behaviors. It drives our health, our physical health, our spiritual health, our social health. So emotionally, that's why most of my segments are directly related to some form of emotional health. If we don't have that, then everything else, no matter how intentional, is going to either seem fake, it won't be able to be consistent in our lives, and it won't bring joy to our spirit, nor will it share that we care with others. So when we are choosing each day, we need to choose our emotional health. What does my countenance need to look like? I want to be optimistic. I want to be positive. I do look for joy every day. I look for sustaining peace in my life every day. And my hope comes from my faith. And so that's why every single day I try to focus on all of those parts of my life, because I want to make sure that every choice I make, as much as I can, and I fail every day, but we still try, that my emotional health is the basics, and it's going to drive my day. I need to also identify what takes away the emotional health. What challenges my spirit? What brings chaos to my spirit? And I have talked about that in a couple other segments. And as you know, that I love making lists. But one of the things that is a great opportunity to make a list is when you're talking about emotional health, is identify, and you don't have to do pros and cons, because we all know what brings us joy and brings us emotional health. If you don't, go ahead and write those down. But the things that are your roadblocks and your stumbling blocks to emotional health, those are the things that you need to write down, because then you can keep a list and refer to them to make sure that you are avoiding them. And if you need to add to the list, then you have it handy. I have a little journal that's a tall, skinny journal that's made for bullet points. And so then I'll write those down. And some of the things that I've written down and that I'm that I try to be really aware of is trying not to watch mindless television. Sometimes it's easy, just go, oh, I just want to sit and veg out. Yes, there's moments of that, but it's just like when you get on, I'm just going to check social media for a minute, and then you've gone down that rabbit hole for an hour. And we all know that. I don't need to go into that whole thing. Social media is with us to stay. And I thank you for joining my social media YouTube channel. But it's meant to be a tool. It's not meant to be a resting place. And that's why I wanted to make sure that my Why This Now is a safe space for you to come. Because for me, my Why This Now is I've left my career in teaching, and now I really want to focus on encouraging other people to live their best life now. And this is one of the channels that I do it, no pun intended, besides in the rest of my life, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But one of the other things that I don't like to have involved in my life too, that takes away from my emotional joy and robs my spirit of peace, is gossiping conversations. And sometimes we start just talking in general, and then we move into that gossip, and I really try to cut that off or turn it in a different direction. Sometimes, we'll have conversations where I just want to vent. I just need to vent. Well, that's well and fine, and we do need to have that, and I've talked about that in a past vlog also. But it has to, at the end of that venting, there has to be a call to action. Then you can take that chaos or that irritating situation that you're venting about and turn it around, or make sure you don't enter into that again by a call to action. If you're sharing with somebody else, then they can help you come up with that plan and call to action. And then another spirit of joy robber for me is replaying past hurts. That's a whole nother vlog, and I will probably cover that in a future vlog. I have a couple other segments that I'm working on writing right now, so stay tuned and come back and see me for those. Then socially, what are your social needs? And I know, lately, it's super easy just to get on social media. That's not a social need. I'm talking about with people. Do you want to be intentional with a one-on-one relationship with someone? Is that a social need you have? Do you like small groups, several friends, or a small group activity? Do you like a large group activity? Not really where you can get lost in a crowd, but that you're part of a bigger program. Or do you like just a mixture of all of those balancing around in your life? Choosing those intentionally, you can invite people to join you. You can join other community groups, a church group, volunteering with friends, or your family. But make sure that you plan intentionally, that you don't just accidentally, I'm just gonna go do this today. But you can do the one time and done activity. We have a lot of fundraising activities in our community, I'm sure you do in yours, where you can get involved and be one and done. But there can be commitments that feed your joy and that your passion, and that you have gifts for, which we've covered in a past segment, to be gifted. So then also, one of the things I like to say to regularly choose to be with people. I hear a lot of people say, I just enjoy being by myself. I enjoy being by myself too, but by myself is not a social endeavor. So choose to be with other people as well. It's great to want to be able to be by yourself, but sometimes if you get so consumed with the number one, me, you become just a number one. And then you lose out on sharing your life with everyone else. And then the last one, spiritually. Spiritual discussions have always been a hot topic. And we are all well and fine until we start talking about spirituality. And then everybody always just kind of gets up in arms and, oh, let's be sensitive, let's be tolerant, we'll celebrate diversity. Yes, that's all well and fine. However, let's just be honest and think about, okay, at our very inner being, we are all spiritual. We all find this place in our life where we want to say, oh, no, I don't want that in my life because it doesn't feed my spirit. Or, yes, please, I want more of that in my life. And so those are those intentional places of seeking what it is that you're doing spiritually to feed your spirit. And intentionally make that a part of your conversation with others, a conversation with somebody in your community that might not be in your friend group, but somebody that could be a resource. You could find spiritual activities through yoga in the community. You have church families, but whatever your spiritual connection is, plan intentionally to make that a part of your life every day. For me, being a Jesus follower, I want to make sure that my faith in my God shows in what I do every day. That feeds my spirit, that strengthens my spirit, it cultivates my spirit. So whatever you are choosing to do, if it's not cultivating your spirit to show growth that's measurable growth is more positive days, optimistic days, having confidence that the hope that you have at the end of this circumstance is going to come to fruition, whatever that may look like. And if you were in a couple of my other vlogs recently, you know that I had hoped for a different outcome from after waiting for this year of this wait for my husband to be back in town after working out of the state for a year. Everything I was hoping for that would be in place did not happen. However, because of where I stand with my faith, I knew that he and I would get to where we needed to be, and we did. And everything's better, and all the repairs that you heard about in the past video, they've all been taken care of. We're still working on the spa, but everything else is all back up and running. So when you are looking at your physical, social, emotional, and spiritual components of your life, please take the time, write down each of those values, write down your intentionality of your actions, of what you're going to do. Review them often. It's okay to go through and go, well, that's really not working very well. Let's go back and figure out what it is we need to work on differently. And as always, I want to make sure that at the end of my segment that you know that I will always wish you joy, peace, and hope to live your best life now in your Why This Now.